Greetings, thespians. This is Daniel Kremer, and we're going to be talking about actors and performers here today. It's said that when an actor plays a role, he takes it home with him, he lives with it, and sometimes it completely takes him over, and he has a really hard time shaking the character after the work is done. So, Daniel Day-Lewis apparently has that problem. I do too, actually. I talk about movies here on Trailers from Hell and on my commentary tracks, and I just can't shake my character. My role takes me over. I just can't stop talking about movies. Movies, movies, movies. You sit down to lunch with me, it's movies. You take me out on a walk, movies. A road trip, more movies. I just can't shake it. My character has swallowed me whole. I play the role happily, though, which is more than I can say for Ronald Colman in today's movie, A Double Life, directed by George Cukor and written by Garson Kanin and Ruth Gordon. This is a real favorite of mine from 1947, Brush Up Your Shakespeare. You might call A Double Life Cukor's spiritual follow-up to his own classic Gaslight, which came just 3 years before this picture. Ronald Colman won his long-coveted Oscar for Best Actor for his work in A Double Life, and it had been a long time coming for him, after 3 previous nominations. He was quite the movie star around this time, but today few seem to remember him relative to the likes of James Mason or Cary Grant. Here he plays an actor taking on the role of Othello on Broadway, and the role so consumes him that he enters a schizophrenic state and murders a street-smart waitress in a dive restaurant. He theatrically strangles her while reciting his character's lines, believing that she is his real Desdemona. What's especially noteworthy here is who plays that waitress. It's a young Shelley Winters, and this is her big breakthrough part. Up until she made A Double Life, she was known professionally as Shelley Winter, no S. So the studio here, Universal, added the S to the name. For what reason, who knows? The script, as I mentioned, was written by Garson Kanin and Ruth Gordon. Yes, that Ruth Gordon, the same one who played Minnie Castavets in Rosemary's Baby 20 years hence. Kanin was her longtime husband, and they were writing partners for many, many years, a known quantity, having also given us scripts for Cukor's Adam's Rib and Pat and Mike, those 2 great Battle of the Sexes comedies starring Hepburn and Tracy, as well as a lot of work for the stage. This was the first of 5 collaborations between Cukor and that beloved team. I also want to say that this is composer Miklos Rozsa's finest score, and it rightly won him his second of 3 Oscars. Later on, he would write his memoirs under the title A Double Life, as a metaphor for his life as a film scorer and classical concert composer. There are some noir elements in this picture, but if you ask me, many of the suspense set pieces rival the best of Hitchcock. I just think A Double Life is one of the greatest psychological thrillers of its time, and one of the finest ever made, period. Cukor doesn't get enough credit for being a stylist in this regard, but I think this film is the ultimate evidence of a master of suspense. But Cukor was multi-talented. He could tackle most any genre or style, and do so with stunning results, while always adding those personal touches that deepen the appreciation. So a big rowdy hurrah for Mr. Cukor. Among this movie's admirers is, you guessed it, Martin Scorsese, who once introduced the film for a video release back in the 90s. I highly encourage you to track this one down. It's a stunner.